Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman met with the media on Sunday morning to talk about Notre Dame's upcoming matchup with the Ohio State Buckeyes. For all the marbles, the national championship game, we're going to talk about the key talking points from this press conference with Jack Sobel. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content. Head over to blueandgold.com for so much more on your Fighting Irish. Jack, let's start with the injuries. That's the headline of all these press conferences. We want to know the latest with the Notre Dame football players. And the biggest item to come out of this specific press conference was about Notre Dame's left tackle.
Yeah, Anthony Knapp is going to miss the national championship. It's not a shock. We saw him in this tunnel after the game. He did not look like someone who was going to be able to play a football game in 11 days. He had a big boot on his ankle. So he suffered a high ankle sprain. He will miss the national championship against Ohio State. Rocco Spindler, the right guard, Freeman said that they'll see how he progresses throughout the week of practice. He wasn't very clear on whether or not he expects Spindler to play, but he said he knows he'll give everything to make sure he's prepared.
It was interesting when he talked about Spindler, he started the statement with like, we expect him to, and then he kind of cut it off. Like, I think he was about to go into, we expect him to give it all and play. Right now, Jack, my guess would be Spindler's going to play. And then just Jagasaw play left tackle. Like Tosh gave it his own all, coming, off the bench to replace Knapp. But Jagasaw beat out Baker in fall camp. Right now, my guess, total guess, I mean, we're recording this right after the press conference. This isn't sourced or anything. We'll be doing that at Blue and Gold. But I would say Jagasaw left tackle. And then I think Spindler will give it a go.
Well, forget fall camp, Mike. Jagasaw beat out Tosh Baker for left tackle before the Sun Bowl, like the first week of Sun Bowl practice. Like Freeman pretty much named Jagasaw the starting left tackle for that game and then for the upcoming season. Yeah, Jagasaw was supposed to be the left tackle, came in for Spindler at right guard, and played his ass off, Mike. Like Jagasaw was really good in that game against Penn State. He was physical. Somehow he was fresh. He played like he was fresh, like he hadn't just played a 15-game season, because he hadn't. He was spending the whole time rehabbing his torn pec from August, and he brought a physicality that I think really helped Notre Dame's run game get going. And I think that Jagasaw playing was a significant reason Notre Dame won that game against Penn State. So I think you have to find some spot for him. And you said it, Mike. Like, it could be left tackle if Spindler can play, but he's not at a point where he's a better option than Jagasaw. Could see Spindler be going back to being a super sub, and Jagasaw playing right guard. And it also depends on how much comfort they have in Tosh Baker, which, like, yeah, he gave up a bunch of pressures when he came in, but so did Emil Wagner, because no one on earth was blocking Abdul Carter in that game. So honestly, like, who knows? And so this is why it's important for everyone to tune into Blue and Gold's practice reports this week. Shameless plug here, but also because we don't see a lot in like the limited practice periods we have, but what we do pretty consistently see is we get a good idea of who's going to start on the offensive line when we go over those individual drills, because they're kind of walking through their run concepts when we see them. So we will make sure to check that out during practice this week.
Yeah, it's usually pretty clear, like first group, second group, like with the O-line, it just is. So like Jack said, we'll have that at blueandgold.com, and then soon afterwards on this YouTube channel. Jeremiah Love, full go. No surprise there. Like, he didn't get re-injured or anything during the Orange Bowl. Bo Collins, Marcus Freeman said, and I'm reading Jack Sobel's tweet, as long as he progresses, he'll be good to go for the game. Just got to make sure he progresses. That was a hot word, progresses. He said that a good bit. So that was it. I mean, all in all, considering like what took place in Notre Dame's Orange Bowl, I think it's a fine injury update, or a positive one, I should say, like net positive. Like Knapp going down sucks, but Jagasaw, like, before he got injured, it's like he might be the best offensive lineman on this team. So he's back.
They firmly believe Jagasaw was their best offensive tackle. I think they thought Strouth was their best offensive lineman, but they firmly believe Jagasaw was their best tackle.
So Marcus Freeman has deflected so much about like questions about him, like the first Black, first Asian head coach in national championship game. He says it's an honor, doesn't want to talk about it. The OSU angle, hey, you're an Ohio State alum. He does not want to make anything about himself. Like this whole team glory thing, it's and talking about the culture, it's really not a cliche. Like they really do not want any specific individual being propped up. It's all about the team. So he downplayed the full circle element about himself, but he did say yes, talking about the season going full circle.
Yeah, he said it's a full circle moment in terms of losing to NIU, starting with A&M, losing to NIU, and kind of where they are now, which he's talked about before. Like, of course, it's a full circle moment there. But the question being posed was, I believe, by an Ohio State writer.
Yep.
And it was about he knew what the question was about. It was about him playing at Ohio State, and he pretty emphatically said, "This has quote this has nothing to do with the past and where I went to school. This is about the opportunity that lies right ahead of us." I asked him later in the press conference about something that Jeremiah Love told our Andy Staples after the game, and this is one of the first things, or maybe the first thing Andy wrote about after the game, which was like, Jay Love said, "We want Ohio State." And that's a direct quote. "We want Ohio State. We felt like we should have won that game last year. We didn't. We want another shot at them." Right. And obviously this is well before Notre Dame knew that they were playing Ohio State. Jay Love also said that they believed Ohio State was the better team than Texas, which obviously turned out to be true. But I asked Freeman about that, and he said kind of along the lines of what he said during Louisville week when this was a hot button topic, because obviously Notre Dame lost to Louisville last year. Basically the same thing, but maybe a bit more emphatic. I would say that, like, if he said, if you need motivation for this game, and this is a direct quote, then you're not the right person. That's the reality of it. We don't need motivation to prepare for this game. We got a chance to play in the national championship game. So then again, he did say that about the Louisville game, and he had the Louisville game playing on every screen in the facility that week. When he played the Louisville game on every screen in the facility that week, he said that it was more about a learning opportunity than anything else, like learning from the mistakes that they made in that game. There are plenty of mistakes Notre Dame made in the Ohio State game, most famously putting 10 men on the field on the most important play of the game, but there are obviously several more that they made, and that if they didn't, they could have won. So he said, if they're learning opportunities from other games or previous games, absolutely, we're going to use them, ... But it isn't for motivation at all.
Jack, do you agree with me that, like, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, Freeman was using press conferences to kind of like show, like, him, I don't know, not show himself off, but like win press conferences, like really give super thoughtful answers to every question and really dive into it. Now he's just like, he gives a lot of coach speak, non-answer answers. Like, I feel like now he is just all about the business. Like, I want to end this press conference and go coach football. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think so. I think he will still give thoughtful answers. Like,
Sure, yeah.
Like we've asked him some questions, like, about some of his slogans, like being greedy was an example. Tyler Hork asked him about being misfits. That got a really thoughtful answer. But you're right, that he very much is less interested in winning press conferences and more interested in winning football games. I thought it was a dichotomy between Marcus Freeman and James Franklin at the last press conference. Like, Franklin was going on and on about all his complaining and such about, the state of college football, Notre Dame's independence, Marcus Freeman's hairline. And Freeman was just like, I want to get out of here and prepare my team for a football game. You see that again. Heather Dinish from ESPN asked him about, like, what he thought about the 12-team playoff as a whole. And he basically said, that's a good question. Ask me again after this game. Because he's going to be in a much better place to answer that kind of question after he's not preparing for the national championship.
Yeah, well put. Yeah, still gives thoughtful answers, of course, but a lot more laser focused. And let's just talk ball. So, all right, hit the thumbs up, folks, and as always, we will catch you next time.